to keep myself composed. It takes a lot not to overload.
And the MLE Network is back here for Freestyle Friday. Didn't see too many freestyles in the last game, but we just might here as we have some Champ League action for you. The Foxes and my former team, the Lightning. Jim, I have played with Majestic Moose. I know just how majestic he is. He can literally take a ball, put it in his antlers, and throw it at the net.
No way. I don't believe that, and I don't believe that you played with the Lightning. How you're a slow person, and how did you keep up with Lightning?
I'm a slow person. I ride ninjas all day. Okay, yeah, just doing wheelies down streets all the time. Yeah, slow person.
Slower than Lightning, though.
I mean,
this.
I guess.
Yeah, as fast as your motorcycle, automobile, vehicle thingamabobber may be, it's not going to be as fast as light. So that's all I'm saying.
Sure? I don't know.
I'm not a physicist, but I feel like I'm right. I don't know.
But the Foxes,
from what I understand, Lightning is fast.
I mean, it's pretty quick, but we do know this. The Champ League is not in their interdivisional play here for the second time yet. They have a 14-week series, or a 14-week league. So they have some time here to buffer their lead here. Do the Foxes, as they're sitting number 4 in the Arctic division, I should say. They're technically second from the bottom in the league. So they definitely have something to prove here, and they're going with J. Roja and Zivalai. I've seen J. Roja before. Good player. Zivalai is a bit of a mystery, at least to me, and I didn't get any intelligence from anybody. So I have a feeling that they have something to prove here against a very strong Lightning roster in Majestic Moose and Narbold.
Yeah, I mean, you said Majestic Moose is majestic. Do you have anything to say about Narbold? Is he gnarly?
You know, I see what you did there. We actually did see Narbold play on stream with their other teammate, of whom I am blanking on right now. And both Kendo and I, who we did play on the Lightning last season, together, as Narbold has actually missed this. Zivalai making a statement here, saying, yeah, I'm here, let's play.
Yeah, Zivalai quick, nice get to the ball as well. The boost is right next to him. You see a lot of players, maybe even going back to the Plat League, you'll see players go for that boost just because it's so close. May as well make a small adjustment. I'll only lose like 0.5 seconds and I'll get a full tank of boost. But that 0.5 second gain is what led him to get to the ball first. So well done from Zivalai to get the lead for his team.
Bouncer shot by Narbold that went straight at J. Roja. Moose sizing up what he wants to do next here. Stops Zivalai's advance. Narbold is there. Perfect clear here as he gets bodied for his actions, but he still stays with it. See what he can do off the wall. Not much. A little bit awkward for him. But here comes Majestic Moose. Trying to get warmed up, it seems, as this one bopped towards the net. Not a great touch there to make any sort of statement, as Narbold is up, looking for a pass to Moose, but Moose backs him up nicely, throws it into the corner to buy Narbold some time. And that is something the Aviators need to take some notes on, as Majestic Moose sneaks one through.
Yeah. I mean, the Foxes were going at supersonic, but it doesn't matter when Majestic Moose can make a quick move like that, sneaks it into the bottom right pocket. Well done from him. Beautiful execution, and once again, it's those details that so far for both sides have led to the goal. For the Foxes, it was the small detail of not being baited by the boost. For the Lightning, it was a small detail of just a slight touch to just put it enough out of the way of the defender to keep it in. And again, the details working out nicely for both sides so far as they are tied 1-1.
Lightning keeping it on the offensive end here. Not a great touch here from J. Roja. Zivalai realizing he didn't quite have the touch he was looking for either, so he kept out of it and was able to defend his net nicely. Moose, he's a good striker. He's an even better passer. Narbold wasn't quite there for that one. Here's a minute and a half has elapsed so far here at game one. 1-on-1. Zivilai can't get behind the ball, but this could work out in favor of J. Roja, but he can't get up in time. And right back onto the offense is the Lightning. Trying to center it here. Majestic Moose electing to not go for it. He's just kind of shadowing the ball right now. Perfect play as the midfield trenches have been dug here. Both teams fairly even, as we've seen not quite ping pong. We've seen some ball control here and there, but they have not been able to capitalize on anything they've been given so far. Now here's Zivilai. Can he do it? Not quite. J. Roja, good positioning, puts the ball in.
Yeah, we said the Aviators struggle with this a little bit, where as soon as one player misses it, in this case it was Narbold, their defensive line is opened, and that was also good. I think he may have gotten a little bit bumped after missing the first shot. But when you miss or when you whiff twice in such a small congested area, especially when it's in front of your own net, that will almost always lead to a goal. So it's an easier, it's not the easiest thing to fix, but it's not impossible to fix either. Spread out a little bit more and don't, shadow contests that quickly. Sometimes you have to, and I think there they may have had to, but a nice contest win in the air. A good dogfight from Majestic Moose. He has a second opportunity to put one on net. Will whiff past it. J. Roja and X Ville, if they can get there quickly, that should be a goal, and it is 3-1 for the Foxes.
And that right there is exactly what the Foxes need to do. Nice quick play. Moose was trying to get back to defend, but there was just no way he was going to get there with the Foxes bearing down on the ball like that. As we move on here, we have surpassed halftime a little bit. The Lightning trying to get organized. Narbold being very patient in the net, waiting for his teammate to get back. Slow play now here from the Lightning. That is something that this Lightning squad has been able to do very nicely, is change the pace of play quickly. One point, they're just flying all over the place, and then out of nowhere, they stop. I mean, slam on the brakes and ball not moving. It trips up teams so much. But the Foxes are not being baited by this, as they, of course, are cunning. But both Lightning run into each other. Yeah, Narbold can't get back in time. It's 4-1.
That is really unlucky. They both wanted to be the good guy, and they ended up both being the bad guy because they bumped each other. And smart move as well there from the Foxes. You saw they could have just boomed it in, but they were able to buy themselves a second or two, and that means that the Foxes, they're not willing to sort of be laid back and relax with this game, because if they were, they would have just shot there as soon as they saw the open defensive line. They took it slowly because they know that with a competitive series like this, every single second is going to count, and they can reduce the time that Majestic Moose and Narbold have to come back. They can win the series and hopefully start it off with a game 1 victory here as the shot comes through from J. Roja, and it works out 5-1 for the Foxes.
So Moose was on his way back. He had turned towards the ball, but once he flipped, it sent him towards the boost. There was no way he was going to be able to contest it at all. Slight miscalculation on his part. And of course, Narbold was out of the play because he just made that offensive push. The Foxes, again, in their cunning, will take advantage of every single opportunity they are given. Moose with a great stop here. Zivilai, what can he do? Deciding to slow play this in his own corner. They have a very, very comfortable lead here in the last minute or so of this game here. Game 1, in fact, of this 5-game series. Low play off the wall. Not going to work out here for the Foxes, but they managed to get it past Narbold. Moose went back for boost. Now they're in the same corner. Not great at all, and just grazing the top bar. J. Roja puts it in.
And once again, J. Roja and his teammate are able to just run circles around Lightning because they're able to use the backboard, use the corner, use the sidewall as a third teammate, and that, just touch towards the wall back to the player is enough to bait one defenseman out, and that means you're in a 2v1 against the final defender, and all you need there is a pass, and they've been repeating that pattern over and over again. It's been rinse and repeat for them, and it's worked out nicely. They're at a 5-goal lead. Lightning, even though they've put 6 shots on net, 5 of those have been saved, and easy math tells you only one of those has gone in, and the scoreboard tells the truth. 6-1, 30 seconds to go.
Now, I mentioned we have seen Narbold play on stream before with another teammate, as this is a 4-man roster, and unfortunately I'm still blanking on who that was. It was a couple of weeks ago, but Kendo and I had a thought that possibly with Moose and Narbold on the field together, it would be quite the show as Zivalan find himself in a perfect position to just take advantage of this touch out of the corner here. Narbold, that's not what he wanted to do. You can tell. He tried to ease into the ball a little bit, but I can tell you this, Chim, you got your Speedo ready? Because we're going to Brazil.
It's probably actually hot enough in Brazil for a Speedo right now.
I know, right?
I was gonna be like, wait a second, it's like February, but it's Brazil, so yeah, my Speedo is packed. It is. It's summertime all the time, from what I hear.
But yeah, the Foxes take this one decisively, and I have to admit, all of us were expecting the Lightning to just kind of steamroll the Foxes a little bit, but no, the Foxes definitely have something to prove here.
Yeah, I actually met a Fox recently. I went to the movie theaters, and I looked next to me, and I thought I saw a Fox, so I turned around and I asked him, "Are you a Fox?" And he replied, "Yes, I'm a Fox." So I asked him, surprised, "What's a fox doing at the movies?" And he said, "Well, I liked the book." That's my story. That's a dad joke. Thank you for appreciating it. Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus. There's no recovery.
Nope, it's done. Downhill.
There's no recovery. It's all downhill from here, folks. Hope you enjoyed watching. Jesus.
Tune in next week.
Wow. That was... Look, I'm the king of bad jokes. But dude, what in the world?
Yeah. No, it's so bad that I laughed like the first time I heard it. And then after that, I just
absolute internal cringe.
Yes, it's just such a terrible joke. I thought I had to share it.
Yeah, you know what? I thank you for sharing it because we can only go uphill from here, even if the stream crashes.
Exactly.
It'll be better than that.
I set the bar so low, we can only go high. And speaking of, getting bigger and better games, hopefully this game too is bigger and better than game one. Game one was a 7-1, quote unquote Brazil, and the Foxes took it, like we said, 7-1, but it seemed like a very close game. The attempts on net were very close, 8-6.
Ooh.
The Foxes only with 2 more goals on net, 2 more shots on net rather than their opponents.
Barely.
There was a nice race back from the Foxes to defend against that shot. Works out nicely for them, and the Foxes are facing the opening 30 seconds of pressure from the Lightning.
Moose looking to step it up here, gets the touch off the backboard again, looking for the far post, and Narbold sneaks one through. The Lightning on the board first, and this is where they get strong.
Yeah, well done from them. They really needed to get the opening goal here after going down by 6 goals in game one. Early momentum is key. And I did look up what a Narble was. Apparently a Narble is like this deep sea creature that no human has ever seen. It's like this mythical thing that nobody's ever seen, yet we somehow know they exist.
Ooh. And
wait a second, we've seen a Narble, because it's Narble.
It's Narbold. You've been Narbold, sir. Only 45 seconds have elapsed in this game, and the Lightning looking to make a statement here. Game 2, Moose out of the net. It was a good play to send it to the far side. Here comes Narbold looking for a pass. J. Roja misses. Narbold is right there. Luckily, Moose is able to play around him and find top shelf.
Yeah, well done from Lightning, connecting once again very well. They were doing sort of what the Foxes were doing to them last game, using the passes, infield passes, to beat defensemen. Instead of trying to dribble past and be a bit cheeky and try to take on the opponent's 1v2, just pass. And they're looking for the passes, they're finding the passes, and they should be able to take this series, or at least this game, lightning quick. 3:53 seconds left to play.
Narbold just hanging tight right there. Moose will pick this up. Knocks it just above J. Roja, and it's enough to mess him up off the wall, and finally a little bit of control comes out. Center pass. Down Main Street. Narbold is there. You know, we're not seeing the mechanical whiffs that we've been seeing in the first game, especially from the Lightning, and it's just like the Lightning need to get that one game out of the way.
Yeah.
And it was the same last season. They needed to get that one loss out of the way, otherwise they would play super nervous the whole time. And I don't think we have seen much of a 5-0 series as Zivalan has to race back. He gets there just in time. But Moose attacking again, knocks it down right at the defender. Still, man, so close there for the Lightning, but they need to get out of there and get regrouped quickly because the Fox is so dangerous once they cross that midfield line, and we'll see what Zivalan can do here.
what is that now? 2 shots in a row that have been deflected by a defender racing back and getting to the post. Those are great for the Foxes, but you can't always do that. Like, those are gonna it happening twice a game is already insane. Don't expect it to happen a third time. When that shot happens the third time around, it's very, very unlikely that you're going to be able to get there just in the nick of time, and the post is going to deflect it perfectly. So it's good from the Foxes that they've been able to defend these goals, but it's not going to happen again as Majestic Moose looks to push forward. Nice little drop down looking for Narbold, and Xville has beaten out the defenseman. He's got an empty net to score on. Please don't mess this up. That would be detrimental, and in the end he does mess it up, which means his team is still sitting with no shots in the back of the net.
Yeah, Zivili just got a little bit ahead of himself there, I think, as he got a touch nervous trying to get it down Main Street, but knocked away by Jay Roja. That should gain a little bit of momentum here for the Foxes. Zivili looking for some open field. He gets it. Nice little carry here. Off the hood. Possible chance for Majestic Moose. The large clear right down the middle and in.
Where was his Lightning in game 1? You said they need a game to come back, but they're playing so much better, so much differently. I think last game, if they were put in the same scenario, Moose wouldn't have recognized that he should have taken the pass. He would have tried to be a bit cheekier or try to slow it down and do something a bit more complicated when all you need is a simple clear, a clear that can transition and serve as a shot. And that's all he did there, and that's all he needed because he recognized that the Foxes were overcommitted, low on boost, out of position. Simple clear does the trick.
Moose did this last season too. He needed to kind of carry a little bit. He likes to be sort of the leader, not necessarily the shot caller, but he likes to kind of do his thing and his teammate work around him. Narbold is trying to also do his thing, and he might have a chance here. Yep, pops it right in. Nice and easy for him, and that's something that Narbold needs to focus on, is the nice and easy shots. Make sure that whatever he is given it goes in.
Yeah, and he's doing that right there. Roja, of course, on the whiff. That was why that net was so wide open, because Roja had to make that last second attempt. And we talked about the Foxes having to rely a little bit too much on those last second attempts where the ball is already at your goal line. You want to defend it before it gets to your goal line. They've been struggling with that in game 2. They ran away from game 1 7-1, and now they're suddenly sitting at a 4-1 deficit. Still a big difference.
Yeah, still a huge difference here, and Majestic Moose just got a little bit ahead of himself here, was not reading the ball off the wall. Narbold thought that ball was way closer to the backboard than he thought. And of course, the Foxes just hovering around that opposing goal line. They will knock it in. But with only a minute left, I don't think we're going to go to Brazil again. Moose gets a great touch here as he slams himself onto the crossbar. And it's enough to buy him a little bit of time, but Fox is right back into it. Cunning and swift as ever. Moose is able to knock that one up. Credited with a save off of that play. Pass to Jay Roja, not connecting. Moose kind of getting in the way. Here comes Zivili. That will barely go wide. And with 30 seconds left, Chim, it's looking more grim and more grim for these Foxes, but they will get another one. If they can keep this up, they might be able to do it. Potentially.
Potentially, and I mean, I think they might, because they're the Foxes. We've seen how quick they are. They scored, I think, like 4 goals in the second half of game 1. Why not 2 goals in 30 seconds? The Foxes, if they're up to it, they can do it. They've kept it a close game so far, and if they can just continue this, they looked for a fake kickoff there. I don't think Xivili was on the same page for the fake kickoff, but that might mean that they're out of time. 20 seconds to go. No semblance of pressure really on the blue side. That's probably going to be it for the Foxes.
Roja wanted to prove you wrong, just put one towards the net, but the Lightning are content in just wasting the time. Oh, here's a chance here. Yeah, Narbold actually get another one off of the corner bounce. It was a little bit odd to read as the Fox is trying to chase it down.
Yeah, it seems like the roles in this game were reversed. In game number 1, the Foxes were the ones using the walls, using infield passes to beat defensemen, and it was the Lightning who were struggling to take shots that mattered, because in game 1 the Lightning, they took 6 shots, only 2 less than the ones Foxes took, but those shots didn't matter. They were just like, let me chuck this ball towards the net, hope for the best. Usually there were 2 defenders ready for it, but in game 2 a complete change up. The Lightning were the ones taking shots that mattered. They were the ones looking for the infield passes. 3 of their 5 goals were assisted, and it shows from the way they were playing.
Now, Majestic Moose has always been pretty good at reading the other team, not necessarily his teammate, as I've been fall victim to that a couple of times, but you know, he's really easy to work with. So Narbold is starting to kind of gel with him, and we're actually watching it happen live. Even though Narbold has a little bit of a high ping right now, he's doing just fine, and that might attribute to some of the slight misses that he's had so far mechanically. But J. Roja and Zivalai need to pull this together if they want to keep that nice. Well, they want to keep that number 4 spot. Actually, they're trying to pull out of it. I keep thinking the Foxes are way farther ahead than they are, as Narbold towards the net took J. Roja by surprise, and again the early goal by the Lightning.
We saw what happened in Game 2 when the Lightning scored first. They ended up winning the game, and they were going to score first once again, like you said, taking J. Roja by surprise. And surprises are great, but the Foxes, they need to have as little surprises as possible moving forward, because really that's what happened in Game 2. They were just surprised at what the Lightning brought on, especially when compared to Game 1 Lightning. So we'll see how the Lightning can try to just move forward with this momentum in Game 3, take a victory in Game 3, put themselves at set point, and if they can do it, the more power to them. And this means that the Foxes have to work at not being taken by surprise, and that just means communicating so that you know at least 90% of the time where the ball is, because your teammate is sort of helping you construct a mini-map in the back of your mind.
It is one of the harder things to do as a player, is to just be aware of where the players are on the pitch. That includes your own teammates sometimes, as Zivalai can't play that one off of J. Roja, but this is super dangerous here for the Lightning. Narbold goes for it, and it was a good contest because it forced J. Roja to go for it. I guess it's really reversed, but Moose out of the corner! Gotta put it in, and he does!
I said, try to construct a mini-map in the back of your head. X-Ville should be able to call out, or at least J. Roja, one of them should be able to call out that this ball is going to fly past them. Whoever was the first one to make that contest and lose it, that person needs to, even before he loses it, call out and say, I'm about to lose this, rotate back. But they didn't, so the second player who committed because he had no idea the ball was going to be lost. And we see a similar thing happening here for goal number 3. The Lightning is running away off a kickoff.
Now, J. Roja decided to turn towards center field. In those situations, when you have a cheating contender, you need to wheel that car around and get it back towards net, as again Narbold might have a chance. Moose is up. They're double committed on the offensive end. Narbold needed to race back quickly, but he didn't. Now he's the last one back. Not going to work. J. Roja puts him on the board. Every opportunity you must seize, and the Foxes are doing just that.
Yeah, this seizable opportunity presented to you by cockiness, really, from the Lightning. They commit to the corner because we're ahead 3-0. We're invincible. They feel like they're on top of the world, and that's a bit of a reality check. We can't commit to the same corner of the pitch this often. If we do, we're going to end up losing this lead as quickly as we were able to build it. For the Lightning, they got the reality check. Hopefully they do not repeat the same mistake another time. If they do, that might be the opportunity and the window that Fox needs to capitalize on.
Zivalai going to pick this up off of the misplay there by Narbold. Moose to steal the boost and challenge. Narbold needs to get himself corrected, but Moose is there, luckily, to cover. Nice little mechanical ballerina act here in the air as Majestic Moose puts it into the corner, looking for the pass to Narbold. Narbold is there. It's an open net and right in. Solid play from Narbold here in the last couple of games, and it's netted him another one.
Yeah, very simple from the Lightning. They're going back to the simple, to the textbook stuff. There's a wall, you can use it as a teammate. You can direct the ball because this game is all angles. You should be able to know most of the time. Sometimes the wall does a bit of a wacky thing, but most of the time you should be able to know where the ball is going to rebound once you hit it from a certain direction. And if you have that down, you can almost always create a simple pass for yourself. And they've done it multiple times.
Just did it again.
Moose finds Foxes once again in the same quadrant of the pitch, that left side, bottom left quadrant. They're both there together, and that means he can take a shot towards the far post and win it every time.
So J. Roja was looking for boost, and then he went up for the attack. I don't think he was paying attention to where Zivalai was at, because Zivalai was underneath the ball.
Yeah.
Needed to communicate that he was up. I'm talking about Zivalai here. He was up trying to contest, and J. Roja needed to back off on that play, but we're coming up on halftime here, and it is looking bleak again for the Foxes, as the Lightning just invading the Fox Den completely here. And look at Narbold. He's just kind of keeping possession, just keeping it away, keeping it in, keeping it away. Nice lob there.
Not the best touch.
Not the greatest touch, but it worked out okay because it's forcing Majestic Moose to double check what he's doing almost at all times, and it's enough to keep him at bay. But the Foxes have not been able to convert this into any sort of offense. As Narbold is out of boost, he can't make that double touch.
Yeah, but I mean, I said not a nice touch from that parry that we saw. I think it was Roja do, because he just dropped it right back in front of his own net, and sometimes that's all you can do, but you have to try as hard as you can to make clears like that. That was a great example of a good clear. Play it out towards the corner, not in front of your own goal line, and if the Foxes can do that, maybe they can try to play it out towards the corner, have the second defender follow up, and start transitioning from defense into offense.
That one should have been on target, but it was not, as it goes way wide off of Jay Roja's shot from downtown. Here comes Narbold down the line. Just kind of caught the wall, but he has a chance here. Jay Roja going to bounce this one high. Moose is up to just keep it on the offensive end. That allows Narbold to get back up and running. Here comes Zivalai. Oh my god, nearly balled, but Majestic Moose just comes in and rams him with them horns. Well, it's a severe lack of horns. We need a horns topper. It's a great save there by Jay Roja. Oh, fantastic play here from the Foxes. Where were these guys here about 4 minutes ago?
Yeah, this team would have been a splendid 4 minutes ago when they double commit here, but you can't blame them. Once you start getting into that 4-goal, 3-goal deficit range, you have to double commit. So the 6-1, we can't talk too bad about Lightning at this point, or sorry, about Foxes. At this point, they're just going to try to double commit and force in as many shots as they can, because they've only put one shot on net, which in 4 minutes and 8 seconds is not the greatest considering their previous games where they're able to put on 7 shots and 8 shots. So a huge downgrade in offensive pressure for the Foxes.
Speaking of offensive pressure, though, Zivalai will put this in. They were given a chance, and they're taking it. As you see, both Lightning way up there. There was no need for that. Just super aggressive play here from the Lightning. Now, it's been working for them fairly well, but they've also had some fantastic rotation, one after the other. Instead, that time, both of them going for it. And Moose doing exactly what he needed to do to make sure his net is defended there. He grabbed boost, raced back towards the center of the net, and even stole that boost there. Zivalai has got nothing. Zivalai needed to rotate back quickly, but Jay Roja is back to cover. As the 30-second timer goes off, Moose will miss this. Narbold goes for it, even though Jay Roja was there. Now it's an open net. There's no way the Lightning are going to get back after this. Now it's a 3-goal deficit with 20 seconds left. We haven't seen teams recover from this.
Yeah, but I do think that the Lightning knew that they were making a stupid mistake, so they probably won't repeat it again. And again, it's just cockiness or overconfidence or whatever, the game is over, that kind of mentality that might be setting in for both teams. But like you said, if the Foxes can sort of catch the Lightning in that whatever, it's over anyways mentality, and sort of push forward and sort of exploit that mentality, maybe they can win it here in 6 seconds, but it's highly unlikely, and the Lightning will put themselves one game away from winning the set. However, in the last minute of this game, the Foxes did wake up a little bit.
They did, and it was good to see the Foxes wake up just a touch and take advantage of everything that they could. Better question is, though, is it enough? And if the Lightning keep up what they've been doing for the last 10 minutes of gameplay, I don't know if the Foxes can recover, because the Lightning are now in their head. And let's face it, at the champ level, at this particular level, being in someone's head is a huge asset.
Yeah, I mean, both you and I know what it's like to be in people's heads, right? Because we're currently in how many people's heads? Let's check. We are in 60 people's heads and Inanimate Jay's head. So,
yeah, well,
where in your head?
There's a lot of things going on in Inanimate Jay's head. I don't even want to go anywhere near that.
I don't want to talk. Me neither. I don't want to talk about it. Let's just not talk about it. Let's talk about the game. It's the Foxes and the Lightning. Game number 4. Once again, this is a very important game for the Foxes, because this game will allow them to tie up the set 2-2. They took a great Game 1 victory, but have been struggling ever since. Game 2 and Game 3 were downhill.
Zivalai can't really do much with it there, as Majestic Moose has tons of pressure. Here comes Narbold out of net towards the other side. It'll go wide. That's a great chance. He didn't quite have the aim down. Moose looking for a little bit of control. Instead, he pops it up. It's almost like they're feeling each other out again. Well, let's hope the Lightning figure out what they need to do here, because the Foxes looks like they have changed up things a little bit. Narble left the boost. Great demo by Moose. That's exactly what needed to happen right there, as he was behind the ball and had the team in his sights, but the Foxes trying to recover from that. I don't think they were expecting a demo.
No, not at all. And this is a bit of an improvement for the Foxes, because if you remember in Game 2 and Game 3, the Lightning scored within the first 30 seconds, and that's what led them to continue forward. They're trying to score in the first minute here. Roja will be there in time. Nice bump from Moose, has to go back. Showing what them Antlers do. They don't do enough. It looks like 3:50 on the clock still. It's a 0-0, and the Foxes and Lightning are tied after a very risky ball in front of the orange net.
So Moose actually stopped. He tried to slow the shot down, but it was perfectly read by the Foxes. They're able to knock this one away. Now it's dead ball in the air. J. Rob will shoot wide, as he had to come from an angle. Moose trying to set something up here towards the net. Zivalai read it perfectly and actually came off the wall. This has been a much faster paced game all the way through. Zivalai popped up, set up for J. Roja. Not quite enough, because Majestic Moose is there. Gets credit for the clear. Narble needs to race back now. It's actually Moose gets credit for it, as Narble just a little bit shaken up after that play. He's slowed down a touch, just trying to gather his breath. Here, a nice pass up here for Moose, as Moose actually went back for some boost, so it didn't quite work out well, although he might be able to turn around here. Roja knocks it down. The Fox is on the back foot again. Good control here from Zivalai. Looking for a flick. Narble gets there in time. That clears it up for Moose. That right there is that team defense we've seen from the Lightning time and time again in multiple series and in multiple seasons. It's becoming a staple of the Lightning way.
And so far in this game, for something we haven't seen all set, no goals scored in the opening half. We saw it happen 3 games, and as I say that, just under the line, they put it in at the 2:27 mark, just 3 seconds after the halftime mark. The Foxes find the opening goal. This is huge. They haven't been able to find it for 2 games in a row, and in Game 4, they finally do it. They're trying to go back to the Game 1 Foxes we saw that dominated in terms of offensive pressure, and the shots that counted, the Foxes were just able to put in all of them. In Game 2 and Game 3, they couldn't, but maybe they can start doing that again in Game number 4.
Roja looking for the pass here. Didn't quite work out, as Moose read it nicely. Now a high shot. Demo's starting to come out here on the Foxes. Foxes getting super aggressive. They are not happy right now. Zivalai towards the net. It'll find it. Oh boy, the Lightning are on the back foot now.
Yeah, we have seen the Lightning play from behind one time, and that resulted in a Brazil, into a 7-1. For Game 2 and Game 3, the Lightning have always played ahead. They've never been behind by 2-1 so far in the set, and although they may have more shots on net, they're not making those shots count. They're going back to, let's just take a shot because we have to. Because the Foxes are so good at pressuring the ball, they're forcing the Lightning to take shots they don't want to take. The Lightning would rather hold onto the ball a little bit longer, wait for a bit of a better shot. Foxes are pressuring so much, they have to release the ball eventually, and they're releasing it so soon that their shots don't mean anything.
Moose has an open net. He's not able to get above the ball enough to make anything happen. Now, the Lightning have to start racing back, as Narble did go up to try to make the play. Narble now. Moose does like to kind of crowd a little bit, and that resulted in a bump. Every time Narble is up for a play, he ends up getting bumped out or something. And unfortunately for the Lightning here, the Foxes end up converting this chance into a score. Fantastic play there by Zivalai. He was able to just keep control of that ball and make sure it got past the Lightning just enough to where they couldn't catch up.
This is really weird as well, because so far throughout the 3 games we've seen sort of both teammates on either side be around the same. The winning teammates would have like 500 each in terms of points, and the losing teammates would have like 200 each. But this time around, we're seeing Zivalai step up 420 points as opposed to the 190 from J. Roja, and that's because Zivalai is one with 3 saves with 4 shots. His teammate a bit quieter in this game, but if that's what works for the Foxes, that's what works. As the Lightning are able to decrease the deficit, 2 goals to score in 59 seconds. Can they do it?
Zivalai, not a great challenge there. Moose got behind the ball nicely, though. He was able to predict where Zivalai was going to be. And J. Roja just a little bit too far back in the net. He was trying to defend. I mean, he was right there. Actually, if he would have kept going into the ball, he would have went through the explosion. But he just rotated a little bit too far back, held onto the handbrake a little bit too long. And that forced him into a really awkward position as he watched that ball go in. Civil, oh, big demo. Moose coming through nicely. And again, good positioning by Moose. Able to keep this one alive. But time is running down. This is exactly what the Foxes want. They are not necessarily focused on making a shot here. They're trying to wind the time. 30-second timer has gone off. Here comes Moose. They have a chance. Narbold needs to get behind it if he can. Light pass right to center. Perfectly played by Narbold, just caressing the ball.
Very, very tough ball to get to. Saw them know what to do exactly. They could have both committed to that ball in the near post because they could have both tried to be the hero. But no, they communicated. Majestic Moose said, I'm going center, you go for the ball. And that one piece of communication allowed them to make the pass, to connect the pass, and to make the shot, to keep us at now only a 1-goal difference. 10 more seconds to go. Somebody from the Lightning must score, or else they lose this game 4 and head to an all-decisive game number 5. A long clear needed from Narbold here. He'll without, though. Majestic Moose tries his luck at keeping it up, and that will be the game. 3-2 is the final scoreline of game number 4. The closest game we've seen so far, and that just gives us a glimpse at how close game 5 will be.
And again, the Fox is coming up on top after they score first, and it forced the Lightning to rethink kind of how they were playing. Completely scrambled, basically.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, tumultuous clouds were the Lightning, but nothing really striking that hard, as it actually took a really soft shot from Majestic, which is not something we usually see from really both of these teammates on the Lightning. But the Foxes, they saw a lot of opportunities, and they were able to take advantage of it. They were attacking the ball much faster. They made sure they were there to make a play. And I have a feeling that's going to be the key to go up against this Lightning squad. We'll see if they can do it again, though, because Lightning, as we've already seen, are really good at making adjustments, and they can even do it on the fly. As a shot comes out here, really dangerous. Moose is able to get there in time.
Yeah, once again, remember how important that first goal is. Every single game we've seen so far, the team that scored the first goal has ended up winning the game. And another weird thing to note out about game number 4 was that was the only game where the winning team didn't have more shots on net. Previously in the set, the winning team always had the most shots on net. That was the one game where the losing team somehow mustered up double the shots on it, but still not enough shots to count for. There's Lightning with the opening goal almost, and Narbold and Majestic Moose will connect for the Lightning to score the all-important first goal in Game 5.
I think Narbold actually double-guessed or second-guessed himself a little bit there, because Zivalai was right there. And Zivalai was looking to line up for some ball control, and Narbold could have probably backed off a little bit and slow-played it a touch, but no, he decided to just attack. And attack he did, because we're right off the side of the car, but Jay Roja responds in kind. Both Lightning double committed on this defense. Not a great idea, especially with Majestic Moose flying through like that.
You know how much we've been talking about how important the first goal is? We've been saying that because usually the team to score the first goal went on to score the second, and it went on to dominate the majority of the opening half. But guess what? The Foxes just deleted the advantage you get from that opening goal, because they responded in a matter of seconds, and being able to respond to leads that your opponent builds is going to be very important in this all-important game number 5. A save needed from McCivile. He'll find it, needs to get a longer clear though out from the right wing as his opponent Majestic Moose beats him, plays it back down to himself, looking for a teammate by the name of Narbold, but Narbold is sitting in his own defensive corner, not ready to commit to anything too crazy yet. It's game 5, and there's a lot of time to go. There he is now, whipping out. Majestic has to finish that ball. If he didn't finish that ball, this would be a 2-1 for the Foxes, but it's a 2-1 for the Lightning.
Narbold flat out fluffed that one.
Yeah.
Straight up. But luckily, Majestic Moose usually has a really good game sense, and when he realizes the ball has not been cleared out at all, he just stays on it and is able to knock it in to take the lead. Now, this is when the Lightning start to get a little bit comfortable.
I don't think we expected a game. Sorry, I think you cut out. You muted for me, which is really weird, but it's whatever. I don't think we expected a game 5 this close after watching game 1. Game 1 went 7-1, and now look how far we've come. It's a 2-1. It's a 1-goal deficit, and it's a very tight game. You know, shot for shot, they're matching perfectly so far in game 5.
Not something we've seen so much, but it seems like they're starting to play against each other instead of I should rephrase that a little bit. It looks like the teams are starting to play against each other instead of playing with their teammates, if that makes sense.
A little bit.
So the Foxes are starting to do a lot of solo plays, and that seems to work very well because there's a lot of speed involved. The Lightning still trying to get those team plays going, but they're also not drawing out the defenders so well.
That makes sense.
But once the Lightning get on defense, they're really comfortable playing solo. It's almost like it's like the Foxes are able to read the offense. They're able to read the defense better when they're solo, but the Lightning are able to read the Foxes' offense when they are solo much easier, as opposed to trying to work together, which usually is reversed.
Yeah, I am confused at how we got to this game 5, to be honest, because like we said, after that opening game, it seemed like this was just going to be the Foxes running away with it. After game 2, we said, okay, fine, now it's going to be the Lightning to run away with the entire series. But we've gone to a game 5, and the teams have tried so many different tactics, and game 5 is proving to be yet another game where they play differently, because we noticed how the same old style for the Foxes worked in game 1, didn't work in game 2 and game 3, so they adjusted. They won game 4, and they're going to adjust again to try their luck at game 5 as a much-needed save comes through from Narble.
Yeah, Narble actually had to play that off of his own touch. That was very close, as that almost tied up the game here with just about a minute and a half left. But a long shot from Moose. It's going to bounce off the wall, set up for Narble, and there you go. Back to basics, Jim, every time.
Yeah, that has been the key to victory for every single winning team so far. Back to the basics. And sometimes, as flashy as you can be, as much as you want to, make Freestyle Friday live up to its name, the basics are where it's at. The fundamentals are called the fundamentals for a reason, because you're going to always use them, never forget them. And the team that's been the most fundamentally consistent in the individual game so far has been the team to win. And so far, it's looking like Lightning. If they can hold on to this for another minute and 12 seconds, they'll have won the set.
You need to make sure that those rotations are good, though, because Narble again ended up in the same side as Moose on that play. Now, the Foxes were not able to take advantage of that situation, but the Lightning super comfortable playing really close to each other. And again, Narble backs off as J-Raha to pick up. Pass didn't connect. That was really dangerous as Narble got really aggressive. They have a 2-goal lead. There's no reason to do that. Zivilai and Moose read it perfectly. Nice light touch into the corner, and now he takes control. Pass J-Raha. Oh my!
2 great passes so far, and neither of them connecting. But the idea was there. They have to execute in the remaining 30 seconds.
Fox is starting to look a lot stronger, but the Lightning just kind of keeping it on the offensive end, taking shots when they can. J-Rod needs to get there in time. He will not. Moose makes it a 3-goal game.
That is so tough. The Lightning, once again, 2 great infield passes, both times getting so close to connecting with the striker who could have made this a 3-3 game, but it's a 4-1. Because the Lightning are able to just stay consistent, stay sound, stay grounded, and even if it comes super close to being a goal in their own net, they're able to just reciprocate, put it back into the orange net as they find goal number 5. That surely should be it. That's got to be the final nail in the coffin, or one of the final nails, as we lay down the Foxes to rest for eternity.
Zivilai could not pop up high enough to get at that ball while he was underneath it. That was going to be a tough save anyways, but when you have Majestic Moose absolutely catapulting himself to perfectly place that shot in that top corner. Yeah, I'm just going to call it, yep, final nail for sure. Zivilai will make a valiant effort to try to get one more on the board, as every single goal counts here at the MLD. Ball not quite dead yet. Narble is keeping it up here. He's just going to knock it away from his net, let it die out, and the Lightning take the series in a 3-2, closely contested, mind you, series.
Oh yeah, very close. I mean, we saw the Foxes come out with a huge game 1 victory. They lost it for game 2 and game 3, and then all the power to them for being able to come back in game 4 and show us the only game in the series still where the team with the least amount of shots ended up winning the game. And the Foxes did that, so props to them. And a 5-game set going 3-2 is not bad for either side. It shows that these two teams were close. They fought out till the very end. And hopefully we got to see this matchup happen again in the future.
The Foxes did all right, all things considered. They are having a little bit of a rough season this time around. as they are number 4 in the Arctic Division, but they did notch up 2 wins here. That'll take them to 14-26. It could be better, but they do have some time here in the Champ Division, or the Champ League, I should say, as they are just past halfway through their season technically. So Foxes have a little bit of time, but they need to regroup now.
Yes.
The Lightning taught them a lot, though.
Yes, and that's the great thing about series that are close and series that you lose. If you can find a series that meets those two things, right? If this is the series that are close and this is the series that you lose, this is a Venn diagram. That middle section is the section where you're going to learn the most from. And this is a game like that for the Foxes, so they can go home, watch the VOD, watch the replay, learn from it.
Hopefully they save those replays, because there were a lot of good plays in there. But I'm looking for the Foxes to start using their team plays a little bit more, much like the Lightning did when it came time to use them. Didn't see a lot of passing plays from the Foxes. They did try a few, but I think they just weren't. I don't know if it was a communication issue or they just weren't quite confident enough to quite do them yet, but they were there. So the Foxes have a lot of potential still, and I'll be looking forward to them in the very near future. But the Lightning take this one 3-2. Up next, I mentioned that Lightning doubleheader. Guess what? The Lightning Plat League is on, going up against the Spartans, and that's going to be a tough one because the Spartans sitting really pretty right now in the Platinum League. Guys, don't go away. Be sure to check out Balls Guarana. If you saw any plays that you liked and should be considered for Play of the Week, hashtag MLDPOTW. And we want to thank Balls Guarana for sponsoring that. And as well, got to cool off that PC after that long, hard champ game, Arctic.ac. We're going to be right back here with more Platinum League action. Don't go away. You're watching the MLD Network on Twitch.